Hi everyone, hope everyone is doing well. Like I said last time, this is my new setup for the next little while. Um, and I know I realize it's been very soon since my last one, but still, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe, and please visit my social media links below. I'd really appreciate the link, the looks, and the likes too, as well on those places, if you're on those places. Um, and any book I recommend that I post about can be found at bookshop.org. And if you really like the book, you can buy it there. I have a link to my own store below. And if you're interested, you can buy the book there through my store and support small independent bookstores. Not saying that they're small, but you can support independent bookstores. And unfortunately, I do not think they ship to Canada. So if you've got a ship happens or somehow got an address in the States, you can have it sent there. Anyways, on to today's book. It's called Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. I can't remember. I think I know where I got it recommended from, and it was the same person who recommended the book The Most Fun We Ever Had by Claire Lombardo. You may have recognized that I had another book last year called What the Wind Knows, I think it was called. I just have to double check. Yes, What the Wind Knows. That's her other historical fiction. Her other one is called From Sand and Ash. I have not read that one. I may go back and read that this year. This has been a long time in reading. I don't know how many times I've checked this book out from the library. Sometimes, most of the time, it's been a hardcover, but whenever I get a paperback, I kind of like to hang on to them. I prefer paperbacks, by the way. I'll just read you the back, on the blur on the back, and then we'll get to the review. The Overland Trail, 1853. Naomi May never expected to be widowed at 20. Eager to leave her grief behind, she sets off with her family for a life out west. On the trail, she forms an instant connection with John Lowry, a half-Pawnee man straddling two worlds and a stranger in both. But as life in a wagon train is fraught with hardship, fear, and death. Even as John and Naomi are drawn to each other, the trials of the journey and their desperate pasts work to keep them apart. John's heritage gains them safe passage through hostile territory, only to come between them as they seek to build a life together. When a horrific tragedy strikes, decimating Naomi's family and separating her from John, the promises they made are all they have left. Ripped apart, they can't turn back, they can't go on, and they can't let go. Both will have to make terrible sacrifices to find each other, save each other, and eventually make peace with who they are. I really like this book. It's really well done. I've always been interested in the Overland / Oregon Trail. And interestingly enough, I viewed a map on Amy Harmon's site. Actually, through a bunch of Googling, I realized that actually there are two different trails. The Oregon Trail, or the Overland Trail as they called it, would start in, I think, Independence, Kansas, and in somewhere, I think, around Fort Briggs, I think it is, in Montana. I think that's where it is. It would divide. It would go it would split off. There was the Oregon Trail, there was the California Trail that went south, and there was the Oregon Trail that went a little bit north westish. it split off into a fork. And so you had to choose. Are you going to go to California or are you going to go to Oregon? That was your choice. Or you stayed in Montana. Not many did. I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think partly because the reason I gave it a 4 out of 5 is at some point it did drag a bit. And it seemed a little bit too much of the same, really. And that's primarily what most experiences of people on the Overland Trail were, that they had. So, yeah, and yes, they did not go to Oregon. They had decided to go to California, the May family. It's a really good book. I really quite enjoyed it. Partly why I like I said that I read it was because the person from that recommended The Most Fun We Ever Had by Claire Lombardo, also I think she recommended this one too. She had read it. She's not a historical fiction fan. Her name is Sarah Dickinson. She hosts the podcast Sarah's Bookshelves Live, and really good podcast if you want really good recommendations. Even her back catalog is really good. It's quite extensive, so you can jump right in it now with that podcast, or not, or you can go into her back catalog and get tons of more recommendations. She's not a big historical fiction fan. She has kind of dropped off. One of her two other co-hosts that come on regularly, Susie and Catherine, are more regular readers of historical fiction. But she read this. This book came out in 2020. So this is her most recent book. Amy Harmon's most recent book. I hope she's coming up with a new one soon. So it's fairly recent. It's within 5 years. It's really good. It's really excellent. I wonder what she's drumming up next. She hasn't written anything published anything in 5 years, I think. I'm not sure. I have to check. Don't quote me on that. Just do a quick Google search or see what she has up, if anything. But I really enjoyed it. She's a really good author. If you're into historical fiction, I highly recommend her. If you're not even if you're into historical fiction, I highly recommend her. She's more on the literary side. I really like this book. I don't think it will garner a reread for me, even though I really liked it. I think I'll see if I can find her book from Sand and Ash. Probably a library book again. Anyways, really good book. If you want something different for historical fiction reading that takes place it's not World War II. It isn't. It takes place prior to Little House on the Prairie series, but is Little House on the Prairie-ish, I would say. But yeah, I highly recommend this book. Really good book. I think it's a really good book for book clubs if you're into literary fiction and have people who are interested in historical fiction, but you don't have the rest of the group into historical fiction. And even if they want to read historical fiction, they don't want to read World War II fiction. Trust me, I'm kind of over it too. There's so much more stories for historical fiction to discover. Anyways, that being said, really good book, highly recommended. The book is Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel if you like what you're seeing, and also to support me through the various links below. And I look forward to talking to you sometime soon. Bye for now.